Join me today as we talk about the Doge interview with Brett Baird. It was fantastic. The incident with Vladimir Putin, let's hope it wasn't us. Kristi Noem flashing a big old watch. And Laura Loomer, she is a fantastic investigative journalist, and she finds out all the information. And wait till you find out what she discovered. Stick around. You just might learn something. Welcome to the Eric T Conversation. I'm Eric T. Well, I don't know if anybody got to see the Doge interview with Brett Baird on Fox the other day, but it was 30 minutes of completely interesting information. And I get it. There are people out there that just aren't going to believe everything they're saying, and because they're listening to the left. And I can understand that, because you're just taking the word for it and you don't really know what they're doing, but they're telling you what they're doing, but you can't really see it. So maybe at some point in time, they'll actually be able to display line items at each time that they're removing different types of waste and fraud from the Doge investigating that they're doing. But they are finding a lot of information. One interesting thing about that whole interview was I found out that the CEO of Airbnb decided to come on board. And the reason why he decided to come on board in February is when they found out that in Pennsylvania, they have a mine down a shaft that houses all the records of all the government employees. It's the exact same system they had since the 1950s. And he stated, look, it was so antiquated that I felt like I had to go do something and get involved. So you got billionaire CEOs, not just Elon Musk, that are leaving what they normally do to try to help streamline our government. They found throughout their investigating that government computers aren't talking to each other. So I know everybody's talking about the whole Social Security thing, that we have people that are 150 plus years old in the Social Security office that are getting checks. And here's why: the people that are getting Social Security checks and that are over the age of 150 years old, the computer systems do not talk to each other. So when you get a Social Security card, even when you're an infant, there's another department that recognizes the age that that person is, but they don't validate that with each other. So somebody 150 years old is, yes, getting a Social Security check because the computer is not recognizing that person is probably not existing anymore. It's just a blank Social Security number. They're not verifying anybody's age in those transactions. So that's why they're cleaning it up. The computer systems are not communicating with each other, and it's causing a significant problem with fraud. They have SBA loans that are given to children because as soon as someone's born, the fraudsters get in there. They contact the Social Security office, and these people that are doing it know what they're doing. They know how to make phone calls. They know the right questions to ask. And then as soon as they find out the Social Security number or get a Social Security card delivered to their house from somebody that was just born, now they have access to funding from the government because the systems aren't verifying the age. So they are using antiquated systems in our government which need to be updated. And that's what Doge is doing. They also have 27 different CIOs, chief information officers, in the government that work at different government bureaucracies under one roof. They have all these chiefs that are running the operations when they don't even need them all. And they also said there's only about 0.5% of people that have actually been physically terminated from their job. The most people that have left under their contracts were expired, they got the buyout, or they got early retirement and they're able to leave their positions to go find a job somewhere else. So the information that you hear from the left that all these people are getting fired is false. It's only 0.5% of the people that are getting fired. But here's a problem that Doge is having to compete with. The information that they're putting out is completely getting bombarded by the legacy media and interfering with the information flow that Doge is bringing up. Now, Elon thinks he's doing a great job, and I think he is doing a great job. He's going in there. They've got all these geniuses that are out there that are finding this freight and this waste and this government fat that they need to cut. But people aren't really seeing the line items. I believe at some point in time, they need to have some type of program or you can go online and you can actually see while they're working. and go on there, log into doge.gov and click in, and you can see their computer monitors going in and watching them go line by line and delete all this information to actually give people some proof that they're doing it. However, they got to do that. They need to come up with it soon, because the way the left is manipulating the media, it's going to get harder and harder for Doge to convince all these people on the left side that they're doing a good thing. Now, it's not even 50% of the country. It's probably 20, 25% that are just being bombarded by the legacy media saying that all this thing that they're doing is wrong. They're cutting Social Security. Elon even said in this interview, they are going to be giving more Social Security in your checks when they're finished with this. Because remember, it's a big pot. So it's a big pot that it pulls out of. So you start finding all this waste and fraud, and they're finding a lot. They stated that 40% of the phone calls that come into the Social Security office are people that are trying to manipulate the system. So they call in and they say, hey, I have a baby that was born. She was born with a midwife in a country cabin somewhere. We don't have any record of the birth. How do we go through that and get them a Social Security card? It's information like that. These people are contacting the Social Security office to the tune of 40% of the calls that they get in are those type of manufactured phone calls trying to manipulate the system. And they're weeding that out. And they're innocent people on the phone that just sometimes they just get bamboozled. They're going to be able to streamline the Social Security offices to the tune of millions and billions of dollars. And when they do that, there's going to be more money in that pot. And people that are currently getting Social Security now are going to be getting more money in their checks. Wouldn't that be nice? So that's what they're trying to do. Hopefully the whole Doge team, if you haven't seen that interview with Brett Baer, I ask all of you to go see it. It is eye-opening to the information that they put out there and that what they are finding fraud-wise inside our government systems. And if you don't believe it, nothing's really going to convince you. But I really hope you do, because these are guys that just want to do the right thing. They have nothing to gain by doing this. Some of these guys, their lives have been threatened. Elon, Tesla vehicles. If you own a Tesla now, you got to have all your cameras operating all day long to make sure somebody doesn't vandalize your car. It's gotten that bad and that deranged over government savings of our tax dollars. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, was in El Salvador, and she did a little presser in front of the prison. And there's a whole bunch of inmates that are hanging on the bars in their white T-shirts and their khaki pants, and they're looking at her like a T-bone steak. But what the big to-do is with the legacy media and people on the left are talking about is she went in there, apparently she had a $60,000 gold watch. Now, I don't know much about expensive watches like that, but if you have that much time on your hands, when you're zooming in to a lady's wrist and actually signifying if it is in fact a $60,000 watch, you have far too much time on your hands. And what does it matter? She's in front of a prison. If she was in some impoverished nation trying to ask for donations and, hey, donate money today to save these children that are in poverty, and she has a $60,000 watch on, I can see that being a little bit of a public relations problem. But her having an expensive watch on, who cares? They just find everything they can to knock people down because they have nothing else. Everything is running like a top right now. It's like a snowball just rolling down here, just gaining momentum. And the left doesn't know what to do with it. So they'll go after Kristi Noem having a $60,000 watch. Now, I don't know if it was that expensive or not. It looked very fancy from the photos they zoomed in on. But come on. Is that really what we're concerned about? Stuff like that? So Laura Loomer is the really big time Trump supporting investigative reporter. And she's amazing. She finds everything. If you want to do a background check on somebody, Laura Loomer is the person you want doing a background check on, because this lady finds everything. So she did a lot of investigating. She came out with this information before a lot of other people came out with it. And the whole Pete Hegseth stuff and the Secretary of Defense and that Signal chat that was interrupted and got a Atlantic reporter put on the Signal chat. Well, she found this information that was pretty interesting. So Alex Wong is Mike Waltz's deputy national security advisor. His wife is a DOJ attorney named Candace Chu Wong, who worked under the Biden-Obama administration. Why are these people still hanging around? Three different presidents, they're still hanging around. You're not hearing anybody on the conservative side talk about that. That seems to be a problem. And this is what happens when people don't background check individuals, because you're going to get people that are infiltrating the administration, and it's going to happen. Look, and it's not Trump's job to filter out all these people. He's running the country. It's these secretaries, these assistants that are running these different cabinet positions and these different bureaucracies in the government that need to filter out all these people. Listen, if you're an Obama and you're a Biden holdover, you got to go. I'm sorry, you got to go. Or you take them down the hall, give them a lie detector test, and see where their actual alliances are. Do they hate Trump? And ask them a question like, would you do anything you could to ruin the Trump administration's chance of success? Lie detector these people. Why can't we do some polygraphs on them and find out if these people are one way or the other, or they're infiltrating the Trump organization and they need to go? I think that's very important information. But Waltz should have known the kind of person he had underneath him before that individual got appointed. But you can't go through everybody. But Laura Loomer seems to be able to do that. So kudos to her, because she is a bulldog when it comes to finding that type of information out. And it just keeps getting better and better. So hopefully we can weed out these people, and the individual that might have or might have not put that reporter onto the Signal chat group, we'll find out. And then that person will be fired and hopefully prosecuted, because that's what happens. People need to be prosecuted that are doing these type of nefarious things inside the government. A new report just came out on mortgages. About 6.1 million people are behind on their mortgages. That's about 10% of people that have mortgages are currently behind on them. That's the highest it's been since about 2011. You know, we had the huge housing market crash in 2008, 2009, 2011, 10, 11. It really peaked. And right now, it is at an all-time high. 10.5, 11% of the people are behind on their mortgages. Now, this isn't a Trump problem. This has been scaling up since about 2020. And it's gone up on a steep incline ever since Biden was in office. So there's a huge problem with the mortgages right now, that people and the economy is getting so bad that people can't afford to pay their groceries or pay their mortgage. When you have a choice, what are you going to do? Hopefully some things can get fixed very quickly, because there's going to be an influx of homes that are going to go on the market soon by foreclosures. And then the housing market's going to crash even further by all these homes that are now flooding the market because of the foreclosures. Just like in 2008, 2009, people had short sales on their homes. So hopefully we can get this economy turning around, because it's like we're in a recession. And it's not Trump's recession. Trump has only been in office, not even 100 days yet. So hopefully we can get some of this stuff steered in the right direction, and people can start catching up on their mortgages. And all these mortgage companies, FHA, the VA loans, they need to work with their homeowners and try to figure out the best way to recuperate some of the losses with allowing these people to stay in their homes and catch up on their mortgages. Because if it keeps going the way it's going to go, if it hits 15%, it's going to be extremely bad for homeowners in the United States. And you're going to have so many homes that people that currently have homes now, the value of their homes are going to go significantly down. We'll see where that's going, but that wasn't good information that just came out either. Zelensky just can't get out of his own way. This guy, we're not even really thinking about him anymore, because the issues that are having with Zelensky is he keeps wanting money, insisting on getting money, backs out of the deal again. As one thing you got to know about Trump, you make a deal, that's it. The deal's done. If you back out of the deal, coming back to the table, you got to bring a lot more next time you come back to the table. Zelensky, I don't know what's going on with this guy. As I said in a podcast about a week and a half ago, this guy's got people handling him. I have no doubt about that now. I don't have any proof. It's just my belief. But I believe he has handlers that are telling him what to do. This guy is more wishy-washy than a washing machine. I'm telling you. This guy has people that are telling him and insisting on getting money because the faucet has been turned off. USAID has shut off and it is now dry. They're going to close it all down. And that is a laundering scheme if there's ever been one. I know. There's no actual proof. Why aren't people going to jail? It doesn't, this isn't law and order when you build a case in an hour. People that are going to get in trouble for this and people that are going to get prosecuted for this, you have to build a case. Sometimes it takes 6, 9 months, 2 years to build a significant case on people to file criminal charges on them. So for all those people that are saying, why isn't anybody going to jail for this? Remember, the people that are involved in these types of what do you call it, waste are heavily embedded into the government, heavily shielded. So it's going to take a long time to make these cases, but they're going to make cases. I'm sure of it. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, she and her office are probably working overtime to get some of these things taken care of. Zelensky, he's just begging for money. He's the biggest grifter of them all. And then, Putin just had his vehicle kaboom, like the other day. Somebody tried to take him out. That's not going to make negotiations any better either. So whoever did that, whether it was people on the inside or people from our government doing a coup, it was a bad idea and a very bad move, because now he's even more pissed off. Try to take this guy out. And if it was the Ukrainians, it's a huge mess. And these people just can't get out of their own way. Hopefully in the next week or so, things start to calm down a little bit and we start reeling all this stuff in. But if you haven't seen the Doge interview with Bret Baier, I highly recommend it. And you got to trust what they're doing is the right thing for everybody. That's it for today. Join me next time for a little chit chat, some observation, and some good old fashioned conversation. And don't forget, like, subscribe, hit those notifications, and tell a friend. I'd appreciate it. Thanks.